pretty little thing, you got a bag and now you wildin'. You just took it off the line, no mileage. Way they hitting you, the DM looking violent. Talking while you come around and now you silent. Flew the Cooper 17, no guidance. You be staying low, but you know what the fight is. They ain't never got you, know it being modest. Poppin' shit, but only cause you know you poppin', yeah. You got it, girl, you got it.
Bro, what is this light on my face? You guys see this? I can't get out of this shade right now, but welcome back to the channel, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning back in. I know for me it's been a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I vlogged on and off, but what you guys just finished watching was the Japan vlogs. So it's been almost 4 months since then, and I put out a vlog or two since then, but as far as like actively vlogging on a weekly basis, it's been a while. So let me just brush off this rust throughout this video and just bear with me in the beginning as I'm like getting back into this whole vlogging thing. These last couple weeks, honestly, like I'm not gonna lie, editing this Japan content has been really good as far as like having all this content built up, but I feel like my whole life has revolved around getting these Japan videos out. And I don't know why I decided to do it, but I created, you guys saw it, like a 6 vlog series for Japan, which I don't think I'm gonna do again if I travel like that, because I really don't need to be making 6 vlogs for one trip. Just like with fitness, travel is part of my lifestyle, but it's not my lifestyle, right? So my whole goal isn't to be a travel influencer or travel content creator. I do want to travel and create content, but it's not the main focus. So, you know, these type of vlogs, lifestyle, mindset, fitness, like everything I want to condense all together, but I don't want it to be just solely on that. Like back when I was doing fitness content and doing mainly online coaching, my content was just fitness, and I didn't want to do that, which I stepped out and did more lifestyle. So yeah, moving forward, like I'm trying to keep that in mind, that there's no reason for me to be editing a 5 vlog series for a 3-week trip, right? I could have probably done, you know, 2 or 3 vlogs that whole trip and then got back to kind of my normal lifestyle stuff, because like my life has been consumed with editing for Japan. That being said though, it was one of the best trips ever, and I'll recap a little bit more throughout this vlog about Bali and Japan now that I can kind of sit down and talk to you guys. I'm excited to get back on camera, and just like I have a lot of things I want to talk about now. I do want to, with my vlogs, I've decided like I want to convey a message on each vlog, whether it's something that I learned, something that I heard on a podcast, whatever it is. So like there's a lot of ideas brewing, and I haven't been able to act on it because I've just been like, gotta get these Japan vlogs out and catch up. So now that we're out, now that everything's out, hopefully you enjoy the whole Japan content. Like that was fire. I haven't done a trip like that, like Bali and Japan, until last year, and yeah, it was a dope experience. If you guys are thinking about solo traveling, I'll talk more about the whole experience, why I decided to solo travel, everything like that on this vlog. But yeah, let's go get this workout in. I don't want to ramble on for too long right now. I know I tend to do that, and I'm gonna try my best to look at you guys and not look over here too. So we're back, y'all. We are back on the vlog. I'm using the DJI the DJI Mic 2, and it's on the noise cancellation mode, so I have no idea if y'all can hear me, but if you can, then it works. Today we got a pole day. Right now I'm doing a 4-day split. I'm still running twice a week, but I'm still focused on bulking up. So I've been bulking up for like 2 months now, and I've been able to run twice a week. It hasn't been the best in the beginning, especially coming back from a couple different trips. By the way, yeah, you guys don't even know this, but I went to Costa Rica, and we've been outside a little bit, but I kind of got back from that, did a little like self-retreat and Josh retreat, and then lately I've just been kind of keeping it low-key. Since I gotten back, I've been trying to focus up on my bulk,
I'm really trying to keep it clean at least 5 days a week. I was like eating out 3-4 days. So now we're focused on like keeping it as clean as possible. And our workouts were like dialed in. The workout app I use is called RP Hypertrophy. This is an app by Dr. Mike Isertail, and pretty much it lets you program your own workouts. It has templates, but I think it's better if you know what you're doing in the gym, because the way it works is you plug in your workouts and you see like the numbers on the right. It kind of suggests for you when you want to increase your weight and when you like, it forces you to progressive overload. So it's nice because what happens with workouts is like I'll go for like a month with really like dialed in workouts, and then I'll get used to the weight and I'll kind of get comfortable. Bro, the light in this gym is crazy. So with this app, it kind of forces you to be like, okay, today I'm gonna go a little bit heavier. So I've been using that. We're tracking calories again. I'm telling you guys, we are dialed in on this bulk this year. Like no matter what, I feel like every single year I go on a bulk for maybe like 3 months, and I kind of get scared of the like body fat I put on. But this year I'm like, you know what? I want to build a base layer of muscle that I haven't been able to do in the past, because I've always been trying to be like that lean aesthetic shape. So I'm gonna do this and then probably cut down towards like August and like cut down for 3 months and really get lean there. But that being said, I haven't listened to any good music recently. Drake just dropped his album. It's cool, but I don't want to hear Drake on the melodies while I'm at the gym trying to get a pump. So if you guys have any suggestions, I feel like I usually listen to rap, but the new rap music is kind of trash. I need J. Cole to drop something soon. Otherwise, like, there's been no good songs I've been listening to. I've just been listening to J. Cole's albums on repeat, like his Friday Night Lights. I've listened to that album probably 100 times over in the last 2 months. So
it natural, stay in your bag like you wearing satchels. Hey, baby, you a godsend, just missing the sandals. But still, you ain't missing much. Put your hands on my back, just a different touch. Put your ass on my plate, I don't skip the lunch. I don't skip the brunch, not the dinner neither. And we hella close, not a centimeter. Getting in between us, all you two turned up. Never turn down though, when it's big energy, when I come around though. So, don't ever switch. Know you been looking, won't find it like this. Know you been looking for a nigga that head of them curves. I'm Jimmy Johnson with this, I'm Jimmy Johnson with this. That I attest, I'm like grinding this bitch. I cycle, I swim and I run, whatever you need. I'm trying out the line with the dick. Turn on the lights, take a flick. Just don't be running this shit. Hey, I can see you as my chick. Nah, I can see you as my bitch. You keep it natural, stay in your bag like you wearing satchels. Hey, baby, you a godsend, just missing the sandals. But still, you ain't missing much. Put your hands on my back, that's a different touch. Put your ass on my plate, I don't skip the lunch. I don't skip the brunch, not the dinner neither. And we hella close, not a centimeter. Getting in between us, all you two turned up.
I pray for the day where music kind of goes back to 2015. Like this song just came on, Often, with The Weeknd, his whole trilogy album. That was like probably one of the top best times when music was coming out. I just listened to GOMD, If You Know, You Know, by J. Cole. That was like 2014. And then I Don't Fuck With You by Big Sean came on right after that. Like sometimes, I don't know if you guys know this, but Apple Music has this like feature where up here, the infinity symbol, it pretty much lets you, it shuffles up songs that are similar to the song you're listening to. So like today, I don't really have a playlist. I feel like I've ran through my playlist like 10 times, which is kind of why I'm getting sick of the music I'm listening to. But I kind of let it kind of rotate on its own. And those songs came on today. Today's been a good playlist. My workout has been kind of slow because of filming, but we're having a good workout right now.
Like masterpiece, you should name yourself after me. Don't nobody really want you bad as me. If you walk away, that'd be sad to see. But if you plan to stay, baby, have a seat on my face every day, any day, every time, all the time, in my mind. Summertime, dinner time. I just wanna see you cross the finish line. Feeling like Jimmy, I give you this Johnson. Know you like filming that kind.
That was a good workout. Honestly, although I was taking my time kind of filming, like I don't usually sweat as much during my workouts, and that workout we actually did, so that's always a good plus. We're just waiting for our meal prep period to cool down a little bit. I usually eat this meal prep about 5 days a week. I work with this company called Simply G's. If you guys are from San Diego, check them out. It's actually like one of my favorite meal prep companies because it's super clean. Like these meals aren't more than 500 calories or so. And yeah, like this one's just turkey meatballs. I know I showed you guys like 4 times. By the way, I know the hairstyle is a little bit different than what you've seen. Now, let me just take this out. This just helps that kind of hold it in place, but it's definitely longer than when it was in Japan. So I'm just been kind of doing this like, I guess you could call it a middle part. And I did get a perm like a month ago, and then I got like a little 2-block kind of faded blend in, whatever my hairstylist does. For those of you guys who've been following me for a little bit, you guys know that I do home IV nursing. So that's kind of like my part-time, 3/4 time job, along with content creation and online coaching nowadays. But I have to stock up on these little vitamins. It's crazy because usually when I like have these in my home, people think like it's like steroids or something, but it's literally just a vitamin B complex, B12, and then like I have a whole bag full of like vitamin C. And usually I had to go to my managers to grab and restock all these vitamins. That way I can obviously see patients. But she's coming downtown, so I'm gonna go meet her in a little bit. I'm just gonna eat this. I just caught up with my boy Kevin. He was doing his Vietnam series, watched all that, and now I'm just kind of rewatching some vlogs right now. I'm watching Ron Doug's vlog just to kind of see how vlogging works again, because again, after not being on the camera vlogging for a little bit, it gets a little bit hard to come back immediately, you know? So just, you know, if you're trying to ever get inspiration, find artists or creators that you guys are inspired by and try to take little parts of what they do as far as like, you know, maybe certain transitions. Try not to copy exactly what everyone does, but take inspiration from what they do and put it your own style. And the more you do it, the more you find your style, you know? So that's my little 2-bit right there. And yeah, we're gonna eat this and then probably head to a coffee shop and do a little bit of work there. So
I'm on a tight deadline, so this is what I got so far. That's what I recorded, and I checked, and it was there. So I said, strange.
got a blueberry pancake latte. Honestly, it was fire. They had like little blueberry crumbles up top. When it starts to melt, it kind of gets a bit soft, and then it just goes in there, and the texture is just not great when that happens. Bro, it's actually pretty cool. There's like airplanes that fly above. Like one's coming right now, if you can see it. It's cool because airplanes fly above, but it is so loud because the airport's right there, and this must be their flight path to like land. Yeah, we're editing the leg sleeve video that you're gonna be or that you would have seen last week. I'm trying to get this out for you guys. So this is present time. The last week one is about a month back. So I'm trying to figure out how to give you guys all the content I have filmed without just staying in the past, because I do want to get caught up. But I switched to Davinci Resolve recently just because I was using CapCut and CapCut got banned along with TikTok. So at that point, I already knew I was going to transition eventually to Davinci Resolve, but I just never pulled the actual trigger. When it comes to like the editing platform, CapCut is so easy to use. Like anybody can get really good at CapCut. Every YouTube video I've edited before the last like 3 were all on CapCut. So it's powerful, and the AI features like are really good. I feel like it's like the perfect beginner intermediate, but if you really want to get into like cinematography, you kind of have to graduate from CapCut. And the transition was kind of tough, but because it got banned for like 2 days, I just hopped over to Davinci Resolve, and since then I've been sticking with it, and I've been really enjoying it. So with my Davinci Resolve kind of workflow at the moment, And just so you know, I am by no means an expert with Davinci Resolve. I literally started using it like a month ago, but I figured this is gonna be a nice way to share my progress with it while also hoping to help you guys who might want to transition over, especially people who I feel like when experts transition over who like have used Premiere Pro and also other editing platforms and then they transition, they know a lot of this stuff. I'm learning a lot of this. Like I'm very new to video editing as far as like more advanced stuff. So this is pretty much like me learning with you guys, and if I can share with you what I learned, mistakes I make, then maybe you guys won't make them and can learn along the way, right? First thing what I'll do here is Davinci Resolve has 7 tabs on the bottom. Honestly, I don't use like the first 2. The media tab, which is this first one, and the second one, which is the cut tab. Honestly, I don't really see the need for it, especially if you're used to this kind of layout. On the edit tab, it looks like most other editing platforms, and coming from CapCut, this is kind of what it looks like. So it's easiest for me to just see this. Maybe in the future I will get to using the cut tab, but this is just kind of what looks the most comfortable for me. And the way I do it, since most vlogs are in chronological order, I'll just dump everything on. So like this whole footage here, this is how I organized it, but I'll dump all the footage onto my timeline, and then at least each part. So like this is part 1, day 1 of the tattooing, and I dump everything on, and then I'll just go through all the footage, cut it up. Again, this is just the way I've done it after kind of building my own process. It could be the wrong way, but it's just what works for me as far as the YouTube videos right now. And I'll just dump everything on and start cutting it up. That way I can kind of get a feel of what I'm talking about. I know I used to edit the whole thing while I was going through it. So I would literally go in here, I would cut up the footage, start throwing text on it, music underneath, and I just learned like I wouldn't even know what was coming up next. Like you would literally go through a whole scene and just be like, what am I even talking about? I would be editing and just not know what the next part is until I saw the footage. So nowadays I just cut up, especially the talking parts. I'll listen to all what I say, where I need to cut it up. You guys know I ramble enough, but there's a lot more of rambling that I have to cut out. Once I finish cutting it up, then you can start to look at like adding in music. So I'll do the cut and I'll add in some music underneath, and then you can color grade. I've kind of gotten more into color grading right now, and the nice thing with Davinci Resolve is you can throw on the top here where it says timeline, you can throw a LUT on the whole timeline, and it'll at least help out with the editing, because if you didn't have it, like if I disable it, like look how flat this footage looks, and it's like kind of boring to edit. So if I can put if I can put a LUT above it, which this is actually the D-Log M LUT, so this is for the DJI, but like that's so much prettier to look at. That's kind of a little tip. I figured it might be helpful for you guys to kind of see someone who's like trying to transition to a new editing platform and see how I do it. As I grow, as far as like learning how to do different effects and learning how to do other stuff, I'll show you guys insights of what I do and put you guys behind the creative process that I have for it. On that note, I'm gonna kind of do a little bit more editing here. I gotta meet up with Kevin. We said we'd go to the library, and it's 4 o'clock. I low-key took like an hour here. Hopefully you enjoy whatever just happened, because I don't know exactly how much I'm keeping in there, but I hope it gives you a little bit of knowledge on this, and yeah, I'll see you over there. I help this man pay more for gym membership. He makes me buy a new piece of camera equipment every single time, you know.
Hey, just wait till we go on our trip. Just wait till we go.
I have a cap.
Your credit card ready.
Actually, I can't. You guys, they don't know about it yet. But I got a cap for that trip.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Ain't no cap when you go with me.
Day and night, I toss and turn, I keep stressing my mind. I look for peace, but see I don't attain what I need for keeps this silly game we play. Now look at this.
Watch my vlog.
Madness, the magnet keeps attracting me. I try to run, but see. Always play ball, never AWOL. Oh, they mad now, cause they lost. That's on you, not on me. Lately my phone on D&D. I try to get try to get some peace, that's all I need. I try to get some peace, that's all I need. My phone right back on D&D. It's like only rest if RIP. I got my wife, I got my kids. Probably got a few friends that I don't need. Not fake, never been fraud. Been great, still a little.
It should be illegal for it to be over 75 degrees in your apartment in the middle of February. When I came in at first, it was like 77 degrees out. I don't know if you guys, wherever you guys live, but if you guys live in a building, and I know this is Champagne problems, but because my windows are floor to ceiling, the sun hits it the whole day. And like, matter of fact, let me show you guys real quick. So up top. So, okay, it said 71, but that's because my AC has been running for 2 hours. It was 77 when I first walked in. And like for the middle of February, it's so hard to tell where the temperature actually is because like you want to dress kind of for what it would be outside, right? But on another note, we just finished that run and now we're eating some, I guess it's already like 12, so first meal of the day. But when I came back, I realized that the mic I was using 2 days ago at the gym, I must have left that somewhere in the gym. And once I get kind of stressed out and like I start looking around, I literally started looking around my apartment for like 30 minutes to an hour trying to figure out where I went, and I couldn't find it. And you know, the thing about the gym is like if you lose something in the gym, it's probably gone. So I called them. They said they didn't say anything. I'll probably check when I go back in. But if not, I'll have to buy a new one, which kind of sucks because it's a DJI mic too, which is pretty expensive. But you know, what's the saying? A little bit of money and a good attitude solves problems. We got breakfast, and right here, take a guess how many calories this is. This is an omelet, and then this is a bagel with peanut butter and banana. It's 1,200 calories. So that's exactly why I suggest people, if you have a fitness goal in mind, track your calories, because like this doesn't look like that much, and like 2 bagels with peanut butter, people could look at this and be like, oh no, it's like 600-700 calories, and they under track. So be sure to weigh out your food and track if you have a fitness goal in mind. If you're not really like trying to lose a specific amount of weight or bulk up, then you could intuitively eat. But if you're really trying to aim at a fitness goal and like lose 15, 30, 40 pounds, and you're like serious about dialing it in, then I highly suggest tracking, because it just gives you so much insight on it. I bet everybody that I could beat anyone in an omelet making contest. Like this, I would say, is the perfect omelet. Like if you see the cheese, yeah. This is a breakfast that I've pretty much eaten probably for a month or 2 straight. And because my calories are up at 3,000, I kind of have to force myself to make a big calorie dense meal in the beginning of the day. That way I don't have to catch up as much later in the day.
That just living the dream, vlogging, building imposter syndrome, because I was really thinking to myself at the time, like, I only have the small.
Tell me how I feel. Like this morning I was feeling pretty good. I went on that 5-mile run, and then I come back and now I'm like getting sick. If you guys see the nose, it's only because, like I told you guys in the Japan vlog, but when my allergies hit, they hit. And like this morning I was feeling great, but now I'm kind of getting sick. So I'm going to try to make this clip pretty quick. So I had a conversation with my manager, and because I'm a smaller creator, and this is some good advice for anyone else who is also getting started in content creation, is that brands, you have to almost treat your social media a little bit differently than your personal Instagram. Because you're not getting a ton of brand deals coming in the beginning, you have to proactively make content that includes some brands and almost like gets in some of their eyes. And it doesn't even have to be for that's the goal to work with that specific brand, but other brands need to look at your content and be like, okay, he is someone that I can work with, right? If you can incorporate, you know, cleaning products or certain cameras, like just tag them. And even though that content might not reach that exact brand, it could also lead to other brands working with you, because they're like, okay, he knows how to incorporate like shouting out a brand and incorporating products into his content. So the other day when I showed you guys this reel, which was the La Jolla one, at first it was just gonna start here, where I was gonna put on text and say shot on Osmo Pocket 3, and it was just gonna be some scenes of La Jolla, like where it is here. And I'm gonna have to mute the clips too, just because unfortunately I don't want to get copyrighted. It's kind of like vibey, right? So it's just gonna be kind of showing La Jolla. Then I remembered after I talked to him, I was like, I kind of want to show the device a little bit more. So I added this intro here, and I saw this trend going around TikTok a couple weeks back, and all it is this flip, and it transitions into that. And I think just that moment, because I just wanted to tag him and showcase the product, right? And I think that's a good lesson to learn, especially as a smaller creator, is if you don't have any brand deals coming in, don't just not create anything. You could literally just create videos that include products into it, like skincare products you already use, cameras you already use. Like, it should be integrated into your life anyways. It's definitely something I'm trying to focus on as I'm continuing to grow my social media platforms, and also the social media work side of it. As much as I want to strictly focus on like cinematics and creativity parts of it, you also have to, if you're trying to work with certain brands, you have to make yourself presentable to those. So I wanted to give that kind of, I guess, little piece of advice as I'm going through it. And again, my whole goal with sharing you guys some editing, sharing you guys some of this is like, instead of showing you guys when I get there, like hopefully I can bring you guys along with me as I go into content creation as a career and as a job, where I can actually, you guys can come along on the journey with me. But this video, honestly, I think it came out really well. The transition I think was perfect. The text, I love the text up here. Like if you see, this is La Jolla, so LAJOLLA. This, the head of the Osmo, fit perfectly in it. I didn't plan that. I just lined it up, and it just fit perfectly. So when you play it over, I'll include a little bit of music, but like this part, that came out perfectly. And it's just like so aesthetically pleasing. So yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons I'm learning as I'm continuing to create more content is don't put yourself in a bubble too soon, because especially if you're a smaller creator, you kind of have the freedom to create whatever you want, right? The more you become established in a niche, the harder it is to become flexible, especially if you're like just starting on content. You can see like content creation as this blank canvas, and you could just throw your paint whatever, because it doesn't really matter if you're getting a ton of engagement or views, because you're so early, you're able to experiment more. And that's something that I'm trying to do now, because I'm still not exactly, established at all in a single niche. And I've changed from fitness to lifestyle now to, just kind of having fun with it. And I think that's the whole point of it. So yeah, if that all makes sense, I hope that helps a little bit. I'm gonna go finish off this work. Honestly, my allergies and my nose is just hitting right now, so I'm not even gonna film for the rest of the night, I think. But whenever I see you guys next, I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna say this once and I'm gonna say it again. Good things come if you put out good energy out there. Guess what we found? Yeah, this is the DJI mic that I had lost in the gym that I was telling you about in the last clip. Right after I filmed that clip, I got a call from the gym, whoever was in the front desk. Her name's Jenna, so shout out Jenna. And she literally was like, hey, I just saw you earlier today, and we found your mic. And that was legit 30 minutes after I stopped recording that time. So I'm so happy because this whole thing cost like $300. And I won't even lie, the moment I walked out of the gym thinking it was gonna be an L, I ordered a new mic that same day and then I just returned it yesterday. So, you know, if you put out good energy out there, I promise you it will get reciprocated at some point. That being said, we did end up getting sick. So like, this is Sunday now. The last clip you saw was on Thursday. The last 2 days, I've just been like down. It's not even the flu, but I don't know if you can hear from my voice. Finally getting back to it. I ran a little bit this morning. So we're on the mend. We're on the mend, guys. But on a different note, we got a package. So you know those friends that, you know, when you ask them, should I get something? And you're kind of hoping for them to be like, you don't need it yet. Or like maybe they push back a little bit. Well, my boy Kevin is not like that. I've had my eyes on the 24-70 Sony G Master, but bro, $2,000 for a lens, like I'm not trying to spend that right now. So instead, we got our hands on this. This is a Sigma 24-70 f2.8, and this was like a hard choice because I would typically like to stay with Sony since I use a Sony camera, and you know it's slightly better. But like I watched a lot of reviews, and people were saying how this is pretty much on par with the 24-70 Sony G Master. And you know, this was $1,100, which is still a lot of money, but the Sony is $2,200. So for now, I think this is a good choice, especially since based on the reviews, the autofocus, the colors, the sharpness, like everything looked pretty much identical. Obviously, Sony's always gonna have that slight upper hand with Sony cameras. I'm so excited to use this. Like, the biggest reason I needed to get this was because with this lens, it's perfect for the size and for vlogging if I'm traveling or out and about. But if I am doing stuff like gym content or product shoots or even like more cinematic stuff, you want to get that up close shot. So it's going to be perfect for like B-roll. And the way I see it is this is the perfect duo, you know, having a 16-25 and then also a 24-70 that literally covers the rest. And with the camera I use, which is a ZV-E1, it does have the clear image zoom. So like this lens technically can go up to like 40 millimeters if you really want to call it that. So I think it's perfect for the size. And then this is a little bit bigger. Videography is the most expensive habit you can get yourself into. Like content creation doesn't have to be expensive. You can get by with using like your phone, but videography and like cinematography is one of the most expensive fields to get into. But ready? Yeah, like it is actually very high quality. Sheesh. And the cool thing is this uses an 82 millimeter thread, which I actually have on this camera right now. And that's only because with the 16-25, I already had the ND filter, but I used a step up ring to keep it with this one. But bro, it's clean. And it's like very high quality if you can tell. So this is the size of that. And this is probably like that big. So it's a pretty big difference. But this will be something I carry around like if I know I'm purposely going out to grab like B-roll and like more cinematic shots versus like this is going to be it's probably going to stay on my camera for 90% of the time when I'm vlogging. So invest in your craft, I guess, guys. But so this is the 16-25 and this is a 16-35. Like, look how big of a difference. And here, I'll take the cap off. But like, so the extra 10, to me, the extra 10 millimeters isn't really worth that inch or almost an inch and a half of extra length as far as like for general vlogging. But this lens, and I'm not gonna lie, the colors are fire here, but like it punches in. So yeah, I think these two will be my ongoing combo, the 16-25 and then this 24-70 lens. I am trying to sell this, so if any of y'all want a G Master 1 16-35 lens, please let me know because I do got to get rid of this. I also have some other lenses like a Tamron 20-40 I got to get rid of. Bro, I'm so bad at selling camera equipment, but yeah, I think this is worth the trade-off here. And then this will be like the big lens I carry around. Bro, these colors, I know like Sony does better with Sony cameras, but this is fire.
With my niggas in my red Mercedes. Attitude like fuck you pay me. Roll it deeper than a dare when we go out. If the ladies show up, then we show out. With my girl in my red Mercedes. Attitude like fuck me, baby. Leather seats so she wetter than a pool now. When that thing go up, then she go down.
This shit so clean. I put that on my life. Mercedes.
Real quick, tell me in the comments, what do you guys do with your sweatshirts and I guess shirts that when you only wear once? Because I'll wear this to, like, let's say to warm up in the gym, but I don't sweat in it enough for it to be washed. But like, I don't want to throw it back in my closet, so it ends up just kind of sitting on my couch here. So guys, if you have any tips, please let me know what you guys do with those clothes that you wear once or twice, but you're not like sweating, you're not getting them dirty. It just kind of, you know, is in that in between, because I don't know what to do with it, and I feel weird hanging it back up. But am I overthinking it? I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
Attitude like fuck you pay me. Roll it deeper than a dare when we go out. If the ladies show up, then we show out. With my girl in my red Mercedes. Attitude like fuck me, baby. Leather seats so she wetter than a pool now. When that thing go up, then she go down.
This shit so clean. I put that on my life. Mercedes green. It's a different type. This shit so clean. Yeah, put that on my life. Yeah, Mercedes green. It's a different type.
Looking out my rear view, all I see is haters. This is just a preview. I use my gas for later. Black ice, black seats, yup, I'm bumping Black Star. Rednecks tell me that I got a nice car. Gotta make sure that I keep my baby clean. This game and keep me hungry like I'm Katniss Everdeen. Just got the whip while shining like.
This lens is fire. I don't know if you noticed, but I use this lens for all that cleaning clips just now, and I never really used a 70 or 80 millimeter lens before, but the amount it punches in 24 to 70 is just such a big range. I'm so happy with this lens. Plus, I don't know if you can tell, but like the sharpness and quality is still fire, and it's a Sigma lens. So I highly do recommend this lens. I'm gonna keep playing with it, but first impressions, very happy with it. But right now, I'm just doing my weekly meeting with myself, which I do every Sunday, and I'll go over this in a whole different video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see it. It's essentially just a meeting where I sit down and ask myself a couple of questions of how I'm doing, you know, reflect on how my goals are as far as my 12-week goals, how I'm doing with them. And it's just a nice way to review everything ahead of time along with your weekly review. It's been one of my favorite things to do recently, just because I feel like with the year-long goals, you'll set them and you'll just forget about it. But with this, I'm able to look back at my 12-week goals every single week and really just like be intentional with what I'm doing. And it's helped me a lot. So if you do want to see it, again, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I just wanted to end off this vlog talking about my solo traveling journey, because we haven't really had a chance to sit down and chat about it. I started solo traveling last year, and Bali was the first trip in August, and then Japan was the second trip in October. Both trips, I would say, were hybrid solo, because the first week of Bali, I was with the breathwork retreat, and then the first week of Japan, I was with my boy Darwin. But then I decided to stay 2 weeks on my own after that. And like, solo traveling is one of those things where I've always seen online, especially on social media, and I was like, I would love to do that, but never really pulled the trigger on it until last year. For those of you guys who are interested in solo traveling, maybe this part will help you guys out. If you're not interested in solo traveling, this part probably won't pertain to you, so you could probably click off now, throw it a thumbs up, and, you know, give it a like. I hate to always ask, but I feel like it does something for the channel and helps the channel grow a little bit, you know? So yeah, solo traveling. Solo traveling was probably one of the biggest experiences I've had in my life this past year. And it just opened my eyes to so much more out there and the independence of it. I would say I'm a fairly independent person where, you know, I moved out to California from Connecticut on my own. I kind of pursued my own things, and like, I love my space and love kind of doing things solo, right? So it wasn't a very hard thing to do, except for the fact that you do get lonely sometimes. And I think that's one of the biggest things that holds people back from solo traveling, is the fact that they're afraid of that they're gonna be lonely. And if that's your reason, I would say try not to let that hold you back, because when you're put in uncomfortable situations, like especially places like Bali or Thailand, which I've never been to Thailand, but I'm sure it's the same, where there's a lot of digital nomads,
you can make friends very quickly. Like, I remember I was sitting down at a coffee shop doing a little bit of work, but everyone else there's like 10 young adults next to you. And like, I swear at some point, like, you look up, you maybe have a camera that's like, the content creating thing is a very quick connection with someone. It's like when, like with my leg sleeve, how it's an anime leg sleeve. When people see it, they're like, yo, he watches anime, so you immediately have a connection. With a camera, it's literally like that. You can immediately connect with someone and start talking about content creation or what they do, what you do, everything else like that. So don't worry about not making friends. And, you know, it just takes a little bit of work, but you will put yourself in a situation where you're gonna make friends. And I think that even if you're introverted, which I do consider myself an introvert, which I recently heard about a term called ambivert, which seems to be more my type. Sorry guys, like this sickness is making it very hard to talk, so give me 1 second. So I recently learned what an ambivert was, and an ambivert is pretty much an introvert that's also extroverted. And you hear that all the time, but I guess there's a real term for it. And the way I work is, if you put me in a circle and you put me in a situation, I'm going to make friends just because I like to speak with people when I can. But it requires a lot of time for me to recharge and rejuvenate for the next time, right? So I love my space. I love being alone and doing my own thing. But then sometimes I can go out and make friends pretty quickly, I would say, if I needed to. And I think that's where, when you solo travel, you almost force yourself to be in those situations where you will end up, you know, maybe going out to the bar alone, or maybe going to a restaurant and eating dinner alone. And when you're at these places like Bali, it's a lot easier to make friends. Japan was a little bit harder. I love Japan because it is such an introverted city, but it is also much harder to make friends in the, like, when you're out and about in Japan, just because a lot of people are on vacation with family, friends, as a group, or like people are just more to themselves. You know, Japan, like I said, is a very introverted city where, like, Ichiran ramen, you're at a booth by yourself. Like, that's so normal for them to eat alone. That is one thing. But again, pushing your boundaries with solo traveling is probably one of the biggest benefits to it. And then as far as like why I did it, I would say working as a nurse, I spoke with a lot of elderly people, and a lot of them were on their deathbeds or only had a couple years left. And whether they were just trying to give me a little bit of advice or just wanted to talk about their past, they would always bring up how the biggest things that they regretted were not doing something that they wanted to do. So because of my patience, I feel like I got a pretty quick understanding of, you know, taking the risk and just living in my own lane faster than some of my friends and peers, just because I saw people who literally were on their deathbed and the only thing they wanted to focus on was like not doing something back then. And, you know, it's like that quote, it's like the fear of regret is much worse than the fear of failure. And it is true, because I'm okay with failing and things not working out, but I hate not doing something and then regretting I didn't do it. So solo traveling is one of those things where I was like, I really want to travel the world. I want to see every part of the country or every part of the world. And I just never pulled the trigger until Bali happened, and I was gonna go to Bali, and I tried to ask around to see who wanted to come with and everything, and no one was saying yes. And I just sat there and I was like, well, I'm either gonna pull the trigger on this or I'm not gonna go again. And I decided to pull the trigger, and then I decided to pull the trigger on Japan. So I think that, you know, if you're interested in solo traveling, try not to get stuck on if it's gonna work out well, if you're gonna make friends, all that. Like, if you really are interested in traveling and you don't have friends to go with, or you just want to do it alone, like, just pull the trigger on it, because you'll figure it out when you get there. But if you never book the trip, you will never book it. And there's a chance that you will go your whole life without booking a trip, you know? So that is my biggest piece of advice for solo traveling, is that try not to overthink it and figure out where you want to go, where you want to see. And then just literally, like, it sounds funny, but like send it, like literally send it and figure out there, because most of the people I've spoken with who take that risk tend to have a good time. And like, I made friends pretty quickly when I was out there, you know. And then also there were days where I didn't want to speak with people. So you have that freedom of being solo, or you have the freedom of maybe pushing yourself out your comfort zone and doing it. And depending on who you are, I guarantee you that it will get easier, because before my first week at Bali, I was pretty much like, I'm not gonna, like, very hesitant to talk to anyone. And then as like the days went by, I was at a coffee shop, I'd see someone, maybe you make a little eye contact, maybe, you know, they give you a friendly smile, and then you're like, hey, what are you doing out here? And like stuff like that. So yeah, try not to let that be the reason that you don't take the risk. And I mean, that goes for everything, right? It's like, try not to overthink it. And then the last point I will say with traveling, especially international, is that it opens your eyes to so much, because someone who comes from a very small town in Connecticut and then moving out to somewhere like California was a big change for me. And I feel like I haven't felt that since then. I swear, when you see some of these countries, like especially somewhere like Bali or Costa Rica, where the infrastructure is not as great, they don't have fancy cars, they don't have fancy buildings, and then you see the people and they're smiling, they're super nice to you, they're so friendly. And then like you go somewhere like Japan, and the respect people have, how much they respect their own like streets and how clean it is, you come back with the realization like, wow, like why can't I do that, or why can't we be like that, right? And it just, you know, as cliche as it sounds, it just makes you appreciate the world more. And that's just what traveling does, is when you see different cultures and you see how people interact from a whole different, pretty much like aliens to each other, right? You don't speak the same language, you don't do the same things, your culture is completely different, like you are aliens to each other. And just how welcoming they are, like it's crazy. So yeah, I would say those are the big things with solo traveling, is try not to overthink it, and like just appreciate what you see in the culture out there, because it is one of those things where, you know, it's funny because a lot of people say that and I'll end off at this point, a lot of people say that traveling's hard, or like it's expensive, whatever it is. But you know what else is expensive? Going out to the bar every single weekend. Remember, my first 2 years in San Diego, I remember I would spend like $500 to $1,000 at the bar every single weekend. One summer, I looked at my bank statement and it was like 16 grand. And I was like, how? Because you're just spending money on tables and everything like that. And that was like one of the biggest eye openers for me, when I realized that, what am I doing? Like, I'm literally going to the same spot every single weekend down the street and spending $500 to $1,000 every single weekend. So when I made kind of that flip, I was like, all right, well, if I want to travel more and I make that a priority, then I'll just stop going out as much. And it's that easy, but I feel like people see traveling as this whole different section of, I need to have all this money ready to go and all that, but you're literally like spending hundreds of dollars every weekend. That's just how I see it. But again, it comes down to priorities. So if you're someone who really does want to get into traveling and really wants to get into solo traveling, like, you'll make it happen. And it is one of the best decisions you're going to make. So hopefully that helps. I kind of went off tangent on some of those things, but you know, like both Bali and Japan were great places to solo travel. I'm going to definitely be going. I have a lot of trips planned, or I have another trip coming up in a couple months, but also a lot of trips planned that I want to hit. And yeah, guys, like, don't become one of the people where you get stuck trying to make a decision and you decide, you know, you start to weigh the pros and cons, and then next thing you know, years and years and years go by. Like, some people will literally think on something for years, and then next thing you know, you have family, you have kids and everything like that, and then you can't do any of it. So I think if you're a young adult and you really want to do something, like, this is our best chance, because we can't take as many risks as we get older, right? But yeah, guys, I'm just going to end off the vlog here. I'm going to have to cut this and mix everything together to make it make sense. But I hope you enjoy this vlog. I hope you enjoy this normal week in the life. And I'll go over more routines and more stuff that you guys want to see. So drop in the comments about what else you'd like to see. My journey to becoming more of a full-time content creator, my routines, my work, like whatever it is, drop it down below. My battery's on 2%, so I'm going to end off the vlog here. All right, peace.
Pish posh and just sound like you need an ad-lib from Rick Ross. No, I ain't MMG, but my next purchase might be a M3. Sheesh. Look at the most, look at the folk, tripping for dollars, so $100 for gold.